Welcome to the first video of 12 in this pitching mechanics series. This is going to be one of the best sets of videos I've ever put up on YouTube and Facebook. So if you're new to the channel, you guys definitely have to subscribe and check out this series if you're a pitcher and you're looking to get better, because this is it right here. Other guys sell programs about this stuff for hundreds of dollars. I'm putting it out here on YouTube and Facebook for free to help you guys get better, okay? It's a series of 12 videos, like I said. In my pitching program, this is actually just one module inside of my pitching program that has 12 modules in it, okay? And what we're talking about here is only a fraction of what you're gonna find in that program, but this is gonna be some super valuable information. And if you guys watch these 12 videos through all the way, I'm telling you, you're gonna take your pitching game to a whole nother level. I promise you that. This first video is about the setup, okay? Myself, I was a former pitcher in the Padres and the New York Mets organizations, and I only pitched from the stretch. I was able to top out at 96 miles an hour. My sinker was ranked #1 in the Padres organization, as well as my slider was ranked #1 out of all the pitchers in the whole organization. Again, I only pitched from the stretch, and that's what we're going to talk about right now, is the setup. How do you set up to put yourself into a great position to have success when you're pitching, okay? So when it comes to pitching from the stretch, what we want to do is we want to take our sign first. I like to have the ball in my hand back here. We don't want to have it hanging out here, because the third baseman coach can pick up your ball if you're wiggling your grip, or the catcher, or excuse me, the batter. So I like to have the ball behind my back here, and then rotate the ball as I come up for my grip, okay? So we're going to take the sign, I'm going to rotate to my grip, come up into my glove, okay? Now let's talk about the feet when I get set up. I want to be about shoulder width apart, okay? My back knee wants to be bent. My front knee wants to be straight, okay? Now what happens is when I see guys start to do this and they put their front leg straight, they push their hips back. So when that happens, we want to make sure that we take our hips and kind of shift them forward. So even though we're getting this front leg straight, we kind of want our hips to be closed, because we don't want to start opened up as we lift up, okay? We want to start with our hips closed off and our shoulders closed off as well, okay? Right here. Now, if you look at my feet, my back foot, the toe, will cut my front foot right in half. So I'm staggered a little bit. Now, the reason we want to be staggered is because now I can just lift straight up from here, versus if I was straight in a line or back here, I have a lot of wasted movement to come back over this way. So if I'm staggered slightly with this knee bent and this leg straight, my hips closed, I can come from right here, get up and get going. And that's what we want to do, especially if there's runners on base. Thanks again for watching this quick video on the pitching mechanics. This is video 1 of 12. I'll see you in video 2. All right, now we're in video 2 of 12 for the pitching mechanics series. If you guys haven't checked out video 1, please go and do that first. But now we're going to talk about the leg lift and the load. So after we get our setup, which we talked about in the last video, now we want to get loaded up. How do we use our legs to get a good energy, get a good load, and still deliver a good pitch from the stretch? So what we're going to do is, as we lift our leg, I like to think about it as 3 different movements. A lift, okay? A breaking of the hips, so lift, breaking the hips, and then down and out with the leg, okay? Now, when I say 3 movements, it's actually 1 movement. We want to blend all of those things together to make it fit nice and good. So as we lift, we're not just lifting straight up. It's actually lifting into that breaking the hips that I talked about. So lift is 1, breaking the hips is 2. So I want to blend that together. So it's lifting into the breaking of the hips. So I'm kind of loading into my backside without getting over my backside, and blending those 2 things together like this, okay? Now, the third thing is going down and out. Again, we're not doing like a robot and pitching, blending it together. So now we got the first 2 blended, let's blend the third one in, okay? The reason why we want to leave that front leg down and out is because that's going to help us get a lot of rotational energy. It's going to help our backside get through. It's going to help us get hip to shoulder separation. It's going to help us get so much more energy out of our pitching delivery. So loading it up for our good linear energy and swinging it out for our good rotational energy, which we're going to talk about more in a video to come. Thanks again for watching this second video of 12. I'm going to see you guys in the third video right now. All right, we're in the third video now of this pitching mechanics series of 12 videos, and we're going to talk about leg drive here. Leg drive is super important for the linear energy in the pitching delivery, okay? Now, guys like Rich Dunno, the King of the Hill, calls it leg drive. Brent Porcial calls it triple extension. Dick Mills, rest in peace, called it maximum back leg extension. I just call it using your damn legs when you're pitching, okay? You gotta use your legs when you're pitching. That's where you're gonna get a lot of your energy at, okay? When it comes to your back leg, we wanna really drive. So we already talked, in the last video, we talked about blending the 3 movements together here. Now let's talk about how do we drive out of this back leg, because that's where we're gonna get a lot of our energy, right? Our linear energy. So we wanna sit into this back leg pretty good, all right? I see too many guys, first of all, who are too straight on this back leg. Let me ask you this, if you were gonna jump and do a vertical jump, would you bend your knees this much and try to jump real high? Or would you get down in there and jump out? You'd get down in there to jump out, right? Same thing goes with pitching, except we're going this way, we're moving this way. So when we get down in there, we really want to sit into it and then drive out of that, okay? So we got to have a good bend, it's good sit into that backside. Now, how does it work driving out of this? In the last video, I talked about the front leg swinging open and helping the backside come through. So we got to get good at that first. But if we can get good with our timing of that swinging open, the drive is going to become an easy thing. So as we let this front leg swing out, we should really be timing that with that front leg swinging out and open and then driving it forward this way. So it's going to be a drive forward this way first, and then the hip, the momentum of the hips are going to help bring it through all the way. A great pitching drill that I use to help my guys work on that is sit drives, where you sit down on a bucket and then you're driving out of that position so you can get used to that back leg driving out and getting that energy going forward. Thanks again for watching this 3rd video in the pitching mechanics series. You're going to want to watch the rest of them because I got some more great information coming out in this series. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, because this stuff's going to take your game to a whole nother level, I promise you. All right, so the 4th video in this pitching mechanics series, if you guys haven't watched the first 3, you got to go watch those. But the 4th one, we're going to talk about the front leg mechanics. And we kind of already talked about it as we talked about the load and getting into the pitching delivery from the stretch. And we're coming up, blending the 3 movements, the lift, the break the hips, and the down and out all together. Now, let's expand on what happens after that front leg kind of swings out there and gets out there. When we land, again, if you watch the last 2 videos, you need to go back and watch all of them, first of all, if you haven't done that. But if you watch the last 2 videos, we talked about the front side helping the back side come through, okay? Now, what happens with this front leg after we swing it out and open? Before we get to that, we want to talk about how it looks. We want to lead with our butt going down that mound before this front foot overtakes our butt. So if you're looking straight from the side, which you are right here, I want to lead down the mound with this butt and not let my foot get past that line, that imaginary line, as I'm going down until later down the mound, and then I want to whip it fast out front. So it's like a swinging door, but I swing it and whip it out there real fast at the end. So it looks something like this, okay? Now, when we land, our leg is actually going to be bent a little bit, okay? So we land, my leg's going to be bent. One thing I want you to be aware of is your shin angle. A lot of guys, when they land, their shin angle is too vertical. I even see some guys who their knee is over their toe. This is bad because you're leaking a lot of your energy, and we're going to talk more about this in the next video. But you want to have a good shin angle behind your foot here, going into the ground, okay? Now, as we land and we get to our release point, now we want to brace up against this front leg, okay? And that's going to help us leverage our linear energy. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next video. So I'll see you in the next video. Welcome to the 5th video in this pitching mechanics series of 12 videos. In this video, we're going to expand on leveraging the linear energy. And we just talked about when you land, we're going to be in a bent front leg, but we want to have a good shin angle, okay? Now, when we pitch, when we get to our release point, our leg, some of the higher velocity pitchers are going to be fully straight when they release that ball with their front leg, okay? This is going to help us leverage our linear energy. We just created all this energy going forward, and then we need to stop it. If we were to land and keep going forward, we're losing a lot of that energy. We need to create that energy and then stop that energy from going forward so it continues up our kinetic chain. If we collapse and keep our knee going forward, we're leaking a lot of that energy this way. If we land and our knee goes out this way, then we're leaking a lot of that energy that we just created this way. So we got to brace up against our front leg and have a good shin angle. Again, a lot of high velocity pitchers are fully straight. You don't have to be fully straight, but the closer to that and the better shin angle you have, the better you're going to be at leveraging that linear energy and transferring that energy up your kinetic chain so we can transfer most of it out through the hand and into the baseball. In other words, you're going to pitch faster as a side effect. Thanks for watching this 5th video of 12 in the pitching mechanics series. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you're notified when I upload new videos. If you're watching this on Facebook, don't forget to hit that like button on yougoprobaseball.com Facebook page, and I'll see you guys over there in the next video. All right, we're in the 6th video of 12 in the pitching mechanics series. I hope you guys are liking this series so far. If you are, please give me a thumbs up. I put a lot of time and effort into this. Again, this is just a snippet of what you'll find in my pitching program. This is a snippet of just one module of 12 in my pitching program. That's on sale right now. But watch these videos. These are great. This is great information. It's all out there for free for you guys. So if you're interested in taking your pitching game to the next level, you're in the right spot. Just make sure you hit that subscribe button so you're notified when I upload the next few videos, as well as future videos about how to be a better pitcher. In this video, the 6th video of the 12, we're going to talk about arm path at hand separation. Now, what I see a lot of guys doing when they separate their hands, they're breaking down this way, and they're breaking very linear down this way, okay? A lot of guys get high elbows, they get into this inverted W, and we're going to talk about that in the next video. But the way the hand path should be, the arm path at hand separation should be, we want to separate at an angle, okay? We want to separate closed off. So home plate is over there this way for me, third base is right here. I want to separate at least a 45-degree angle or more. You'll see guys separating their hands at a 90-degree angle. So right-handed pitchers separating towards third. But I want you guys at least 45 degrees or more. So when I separate my hands, I'll draw a line right here at that 45-degree angle. I also want to separate my backhand at that same angle. So when I'm coming up, I separate the hands and I'm separating on that line this way. That's going to help me stay closed off and get good hip to shoulder separation, which we're going to talk about in the next video, and put me in a good closed off position, wound up position, so I can unwind and have good energy, rotational energy. We talked a lot about linear energy in the load and the leg drive. Now we're talking about the rotational energy. This will help us get good rotational energy in the pitching delivery. So separate those hands on this line. Now as we continue up and start to turn, we get into our scap load and up into hip to shoulder separation, which we're going to talk about in the next video. So I'll see you over there in a minute. So for the 7th video in this video series of 12 about pitching mechanics or pitching movement, we're going to talk about the scap load and the inverted W. Scap load is a good thing, okay? Inverted W is a bad thing. All right, the inverted W is for those guys who break and separate and they get real high with the elbows and their timing is off, okay? So when they're landing at front foot strike here, they're still down in an inverted L or inverted W if they're both sides. And what happens is they got to go from this position all the way to here as their hips turn, and that puts a lot of stress on the shoulder. So the timing is off there. So we do not want to be in a inverted W or inverted L position. So if you've got a pitcher or you're a pitcher yourself and you're getting a video of yourself from the side, if when your front foot lands, your elbows are higher than your hands, you're not in a good position. You also have to take in your body angle into account for this, because some guys from this angle look like they're in an inverted W, but if they stand them straight up at their body angle, they're actually into a good scap load, which brings me to scap load. Scap load is the position that you want to be in at front foot strike or a little bit higher, because when our front foot strikes, I like guys who are just above parallel with this ball into their load, so that when their hips start to come forward, then they get into that hip to shoulder separation right here, not putting a whole lot of stress on their shoulder, but they still got a lot of energy, elastic energy, and they're ready to fire that ball forward and not hurt themselves. Thanks for watching this quick video. We're going to talk about hip to shoulder separation in the next video, because that's a very important part of the pitching delivery and pitching mechanics. So I'll see you in the next video. Leave me a comment below if you got any questions. All right, we're in the 8th video of 12, and we're talking about power pitching mechanics, the movements of these high velocity pitchers, what they're doing and what they do well. And now we're going to talk about hip to shoulder separation. We just talked about scap load and inverted W. Inverted W is something that we don't want to be in. Scap load is a good thing. And after we move out of our scap load and our hips start to turn, we're going to get into our hip to shoulder separation. Hip to shoulder separation is when our hips are all the way forward, our belt is going forward, and this is what we're trying to achieve, is to get our hips going as far forward as we can, and our shoulder is still as far back as we can this way. The further separated we can get those two, the more elastic energy we're going to have, and we're going to be able to deliver that ball faster. They did a study a few years ago that showed that 80% of your pitching velocity came from hip to shoulder separation. So if you can increase your range of motion, get better with your flexibility, your mobility, and put yourself into this position, and it also has to do a lot with timing, how you're getting to that position. If you can do this and accomplish this and get to a good hip to shoulder separation position and have good timing and sequencing through that and deliver the baseball, you're going to be able to increase your pitching velocity. So it's very important. Work on it. Leave me a comment below if you have any questions, and I'm going to see you in the next video right now. All right, video 9 of 12 in the pitching mechanics series. Thank you guys for who are still here. You guys are the ones who want to get better at pitching. I know this, and I appreciate you guys, and that's who I make these videos for. We're going to talk about maximum external rotation. External rotation is when our arm gets back, falls back into layback, okay? So I can't do it right now because I'm not moving that fast. So as we come out of our hip to shoulder separation and we start to deliver this baseball, our shoulders start to rotate and our arm is gonna lay back, and that's what the external rotation is, when our arm lays back. I can't do it right now because I don't have any energy or force to let that arm lay back, but it's gonna lay back almost flat into a 90-degree angle this way if you're getting good external rotation. Some guys, when they come through, they're not getting good external rotation, and they're about here, maybe a little bit lower, and they don't have that catapult in their arm to throw that ball hard. If you've ever seen a picture of a pitcher at the right moment from the side right here, you'll look at it and you're like, oh my goodness, it looks like their arm's about to snap off. And that is maximum external rotation. And you want to have that good ability to be laid back so you can catapult that ball out in front and throw it faster. So a couple things you can do is make sure you're flexible. You have the mobility in your shoulder. You want to be loose to be able to get that maximum external rotation, laid back to fling that ball out forward and pitch it really fast. Don't forget, if you haven't already, like my Facebook page, yougoprobaseball.com, because these videos are going to go up there, as well as on my YouTube channel. If you're not already subscribed, click that subscribe button, and we got a few more videos in this pitching mechanics series. Go check them out right now. All right, the 10th video out of 12 in this pitching mechanics series is going to be about leveraging your rotational energy. We already talked about leveraging our linear energy with a good shin angle and pitching against our front leg, but now we have to also leverage our rotational energy, because pitching is about those two sources of energy, our linear energy and our rotational energy that we separate here and then we unwind, right? We got good arm path at hand separation, we've got good hip to shoulder separation, and then we unwind all that elastic energy. But what happens if we don't leverage that? We're just gonna be spinning and leaking all of our energy out this way, right? We don't wanna do that. So we wanna leverage that rotational energy somehow, and we do that by blocking off. Blocking off is when we start to open this front shoulder, but then we block it off, our elbow comes into our side, and we stop our rotation, because we don't wanna just keep spinning this way. Again, our energy is just going to leak out. So we block it off, and then we continue letting this back shoulder come past the front shoulder. Okay, the way I like to think about it is almost like I'm on a short wall, and I've got my arm braced here, tucked into my lat, and then I'm on this wall. I'm leveraging my rotational energy and stopping it here, and then all of the rest of the rotational energy is coming forward, okay? If you're able to leverage your rotational energy and let it get in, continue through your kinetic chain and out through your fingers, the side effect of that is going to be pitching faster. So you got to learn how to leverage your linear energy well and leverage your rotational energy well if you're trying to pitch faster. All right, for the 11th video of the 12 in the pitching mechanics series here on YouTube and on Facebook, we're going to talk about the release point, okay? Now, the perfect release point, coaches always talk about get out front, get out in front, reach out front, release that ball out in front. This is not the real release point, okay? The real release point is having your arm in a straight line down your back, down your butt, and through your heel. So if you're in line, that's your force vector. If you're in line, down your arm, down your butt, down your back, through your heel, that's a good release point, okay? So when you're taking video from the side over here, you wanna make sure that your pitcher at release point, the second that ball comes out of his hand, that he's in a good line all the way through, the arm, the back, the butt, the heel. The only thing that's gonna be off the line is the back knee, because the back knee is gonna be bent in. So it's gonna be heel, butt, back, arm, right here, blocked off, right? Leveraging our rotational energy, okay? Now, we're gonna be off the rubber. We should be off the rubber here if we got good linear energy or leg drive. So we're not gonna be right in line with the rubber. It's gonna be away from the rubber on our force vector. That is the perfect release point. And this is gonna be the last video coming now, so I'll see you guys over there. Let me know if you got any questions below. The last video, number 12 of 12, and what happens in the end of the pitching delivery is the follow through, right? That's the last thing we got. We just talked about the release point. If you guys haven't watched all of the other videos, please, they're very short videos. If you're trying to take your pitching game to the next level, start at the first one, watch them through. It's not gonna take you that long. They're very quick, but very valuable information, okay? If you're liking these videos so far, please give me the thumbs up and leave me a comment if you have any questions about any of the previous videos right now on this video. So let's talk about real quick the follow through. What happens after that perfect release point we talked about in the last video? What we want to do is we want to decelerate our arm. We just talked about everything that we needed to do to speed everything up, to create as much energy as we could, leverage that energy so that we get all that energy coming out of our hand. Now, what we got to do is we have to slow all that down. We have to decelerate our arm, okay? We have to use the brakes in our pitching delivery. Now, when we do that, what happens is after release point, we want to pronate our arm and start to turn it in. That's going to help let our back and our lat and our scaps start to slow that arm down, okay? That's why if you're pitching and you get sore back here in your lats afterwards, that's a good thing. You're decelerating well, okay? So after release point, that arm should immediately turn in very fast. If you look at it in slow-mo, when guys release, it's like guys who decelerate good go like this after their release. They turn it in fast and they turn it in hard. So when you're focusing on that, working on that, when you're throwing, make sure you're turning every pitch or every throw in where the hand turns this way, okay? Now, timing of your different pitches, like a fastball, you're gonna be through the ball first, then pronate. Two seam, you're gonna pronate a little bit at release point and then decelerate more. Change up, you're gonna be turned in even more at release point and then decelerate even more. So those types of pitches where you're already pronating, it's just the timing of which you decelerate that happens with your arm out in front. But we want to do this no matter what to slow the arm down, and that's how the follow through should be. Also, if you've leveraged your linear energy well enough and your rotational energy enough, the back leg is automatically going to come up and over. That's going to be a reaction. We don't want to work on this. So if there's a guy who's like swinging the leg around or dragging it behind, we don't want to focus on working on this, getting here and trying to lift that leg up. No, the problem is earlier in the delivery, we're not creating enough linear energy or rotational energy, so that leg's not coming up and around. So don't try to fix it where it's happening. Don't try to fix the problem where it's happening. Go back earlier in the delivery and fix it there. I hope you guys liked these 12 videos of the pitching mechanics. Please, again, I put this out here for free. All I ask is that you give me a thumbs up if you haven't already subscribed, because you don't want to miss some of the great stuff that I got coming out. So click that subscribe button. There's a little bell notification right there. You click that and you'll be notified every time a video comes up, that I post a video. And this is great because you don't want to miss any of the stuff that I put up. What if it's a game changer for you? What if it's something that could take your game to that next level and you don't get to see it? I don't want that. That's why I put these videos out for you for free to get better. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I want to know if there's anything that I can do to help you take your game to the next level. I hope you guys really enjoyed these 12 videos in the pitching mechanics series. And again, whatever I can do to help you, let me know. Leave a comment below. Thank you guys very much.